Welcome to Fourth Stream. Today we're talking about kingdom character. What does it mean to live God's way and be God's man or woman the way He wants us to be? So, character is about letting our best shine through us toward others. So, the best of what we have. And even more than that, it's kingdom character is allowing Christ's character to grow and reign in our hearts so that that can be passed on to the people around us. Now, this is huge because we are made in the image of God so that we can be funnels for God because we share in His good through His Son, Jesus Christ. So either good or bad character result from the nature of the spiritual fight that we engage during our lifetimes, because obviously, as we've talked about before, we are in a negative environment. It wasn't meant to be that way, but that goes into the bigger picture of what we're talking about. So Jesus had his disciples, and his family didn't really get on board right away. Okay, they weren't all that excited about what was going on. I'm sure they were trying to figure out what was happening, but his brother James did eventually become what was called one of the pillars of the Jerusalem church. And he wrote the book of James, which is incredibly insightful and incredibly direct. But this is James' brothers. It's his umbrella for both empty character as well as kingdom character. So wisdom above and vanity from below. Who among you is wise and understanding? Let him show by his good behavior, his deeds in the gentleness of wisdom. Interesting statement. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your heart, do not be arrogant and lie against the truth. This kind of wisdom is not that which comes down from above, but is earthly, natural, and demonic. Remember those: earthly, natural, and demonic. That describes a lot of what we see going on around us right now in our world. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there is disorder and every evil thing. You see how that's kind of rolling out there? Okay, so let him show by his good behavior, his deeds, and the gentleness of wisdom. But the opposite of that is bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your heart. Don't be arrogant, lie against the truth. This wisdom is not that which comes down from above, but it's earthly, natural, demonic. That's a conversation for a different time. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there is disorder and every evil thing. And you wonder how things can be so out of whack and out of control. Well, this is why it can happen. But so here's the contrast that Jesus's brother James makes. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, reasonable. These are all the opposite of earthly, natural, and demonic. First of all, pure, then peaceable, gentle, reasonable, full of mercy and good fruits, unwavering, without hypocrisy. And the seed that is sown into life, whose fruit is righteousness, is sown in peace by those who make peace. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall inherit the earth. So when we surpass vanity, earthly, natural, and demonic, with wisdom from above, those things that make for peace, we connect with each other in supernatural ways. So there's a list in the podcast notes that go with this that talk about all the one another's that kingdom character is supposed to be passed on in. Now, when we get to the bottom here of the post, there is a complete study on the main quality character attributes that we can pursue and that we can be educated in and think about, and we can say, okay, we want to pursue these rather than pursue what is earthly, natural, and demonic. And so if you want to take that even further, those two links at the bottom can be very helpful. But first, I want to consider looking at what applied wisdom looks like in a growing life, in a growing set of relationships where there are peacemakers, excuse me, involved. And there's a passage listed by each one of these that can kind of get you going in the right direction with them. Consider one another. Don't just think about yourself, consider one another. Second of all, build up one another. You know, what can I do to strengthen somebody else? Be devoted to one another, not just half-hearted. Love one another. I think we know what that means. Be accepting of one another. Wow, acceptance. Admonish one another. I mean, speak the truth, even when the truth is hard. Wait for one another. Don't be in such a hurry to go where you're going that you're leaving people behind you. Care for one another. Serve one another. Again, obvious. Bear with one another, which can be a pain for sure. Comfort one another. Also, be kind to one another. Speak and submit to one another, and then regard one another as more important than yourselves. Do you see this? Why this list is a big deal? Is a way of not only taking character and looking at character, but what does character look like when it's shining out of me toward other people? So if these things are happening in you, you pretty much can be sure that the character of Christ is inside of you. Just a few more. Be at peace with each other, as we've already talked about. Confess your faults to one another. Pray for one another so that you might be healed. That's in James chapter 5. And then also encourage one another. So as we open our lives to this new way of living that is described in the Word of God, we're self-equipped and we're God-equipped to live a principled life. God is flowing through us, but we are participating in the character and actions from the inside out. This is so cool and it's so deep, and this is worth taking the time. What is kingdom character? I remember the first time that I did this study years ago, and I went through and I wrote out a list of which ones of these things were me and which ones weren't. And I'll tell you, a lot of them weren't. And I went down the character list that's under the quality character link. And that was really revealing too. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm not as good as I want to be. It was like, who does God want me to be? And that has sent me on a lifelong journey. You can find us at the number 4 at fourthstream.com. And we're also on X now at Solitude Cabin, Dave Nadler at Solitude Cabin. We're having a ball just talking about finding hope, good things that are good for the soul, because there's plenty around us right now that's negative, right? Take care and make sure that you pursue the opposite of the earthly and the natural and demonic. See you soon.